All right. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Mastering More4apps, simplifying blanket purchase agreements and procurement in Oracle Cloud. So I am Stephanie, and I will be moderating today's webinar. And since this is going to be a quick fire webinar, I just want to go over a few things as fast as possible before handing it over to Rachana here. So everyone will receive today's recording by the end of the week, so just keep an eye out for that. And then after Rachana presents, we will begin our Q&A portion. So during the session, feel free to put your questions in the Q&A box or in the chat, and we will only answer them during that Q&A part, just to allow everyone to hear everything and to hop off at the end if needed. So this is our second session of the day, of our end user day. So we only have two more. Rachana will be with us again in the last time slot, but we will have some great guest speakers in between from here on. So there's still some time to register if you'd like to join. So a little bit more about our host. Rachana has been in the Oracle ethos for over 20 years. She has extensive experience as a consultant, implementing, upgrading, and supporting Oracle applications, ranging from Oracle 11i to cloud, and spanning a breadth of modules across supply chain, procurement, inventory, and manufacturing. She is currently a board member in multiple OATUG special interest groups like AR and order management, and is a regular speaker and writer on the topic of supply chains. So let's get started. So Rachana, you want to take it away?
Sure. Thank you, Stephanie, for the introduction. So yeah, I've worked with many of you, been with More4apps for about 9+ years. So I've had the opportunity and the privilege of working with many of you here. I've done a few of these end user training series. So happy to be back in touch and cruising through some of our newest integrators, newest features out there. So I'll be taking over the screen share. Before that, I just wanted to know, I'm going to keep the flavor of the day centered around streamlining procurement business processes. And procurement, as we know, is going through a lot of, the landscape is shifting. People have to do a lot of updates now. Sourcing strategies are getting revamped as tariffs are starting to hit multiple industries. So that's going to be the backdrop of the landscape as we walk through our procurement capabilities today, procurement solutions today. So I just wanted to take a poll, quick poll of what people are using in the procurement area in terms of, there's a quick poll here, whether it's manual entry, FBDI, ADFDI on your procurement modules. So let's pivot from there.
Yeah.
Based on what most people are using.
Interesting. Yeah, like I said, I was telling Rachana before, a session beforehand, a lot of people also did manual entry.
Right. Yeah, because there's very few efficient alternatives I
Mhm.
acknowledge out there. A lot of the others would trip you up, or it's for the technical team. So I do understand that many of you are on manual entry still, which is a tedium. So you do want some rescue from that.
All right, I'm gonna end it. Let's share results. Yeah, so manual entry. And not sure.
Right. That
Another.
seems to be
Okay.
the hands down winner. Okay.
Okay, go ahead,
Okay.
Rachana. You can take it.
All right. So let me take over the sharing now. Do you have to close the poll? Okay.
Yeah, you can X out of it.
Right. Yes. All right. Okay, so we are beginning in the spreadsheet. I'm already logged in and everything. Many of you might have attended my prior sessions, got some hands-on also probably in these modules, but basically I'm logged in. So it More4apps promises an entirely Excel interface into your cloud applications. And especially for procurement, we have a number of solutions or templates or sheets, as we call them, for standard POs, closing, canceling. And the newest one of the block has been the blanket purchase agreements, which I'll dive into a little deeper today. So as I said, everything is from a single session of Excel spreadsheet. Anything Excel, you have the other ribbons to sort, filter, everything. All things Oracle just come into the More4apps ribbon. You can log in and you can do the upload downloads from right here. And that's what I'm going to start doing here. My template is tailored for blanket agreements. Now, when I say tailored, it's literally tailored to the last column. So I can actually remove columns. Let's say I don't want to see the approval status, so, the agreement status, or let's say the communication method. I really don't care about that. So I can literally go in and remove, all right? And then I can even move columns around. So let's say I want to see the start date, end date of the agreement up front. I can plug them off of here and take them anywhere else and keep them on before, even right next to the supplier name, let's say. I want to keep it there, I can insert it. So literally I have it, use it just like Excel, as flexibly as Excel. Okay, so what that gives me is the opportunity to tailor it as per any spreadsheet or file extracts that I might be having when I'm negotiating with suppliers. And my buyers might be getting a file, and it could be in any whatsoever format. And now with this flexibility, I can mirror it on my More4apps solution. So let's assume this is my extract of all the blanket agreements that I have to enter as a buyer on a given day. I take that format, I look at the columns, what do I need, what do I not, and then I exactly trim it down onto my sheets or mirror it onto my More4apps sheet. And that's owing to the flexibility I'd shown before with the columns. It's entirely in the end user's hands to just treat it like Excel, trim away columns, and reorder them in the sequence that you want. And because of that, I can do an easy copy from that supplier extracts and then paste them here, and things fall right in place because I've done the legwork before. So as you can see, you can have parent, child, everything fits in well. You can have all the columns, you can have just the columns that you want, limited to what you want to see. So this one is limiting itself to the header and the lines, but there are more columns. There is attachments, flex fields, there's even price breaks, and a lot of other whatever you see on the manual order and manual PO or the BPA entry form, you should have a corresponding field or a column here to pull in. And I'll show you how to pull in extra fields a little later. Let's just go in and get this rolling. I'm already connected. So all I need to do is just take this batch and simply upload from here. And you'll see that the entire process from start to end is all from this single spreadsheet. Not just the entire data is on one sheet. You don't have to stitch together multiple tabs. As you can see here, you have the entire header line. And if you had price breaks or if you have DFFs attachments, everything will be on one sheet. And you don't need to deal with any IDs or anything, unlike FBDI, to stitch them and connect them together across tabs. It's all on one sheet, one single upload for the entire record from top to bottom. And you'll see that even if I have any error handling, feedback, everything comes from this one single sheet. So as expected, this should go into pending status. This is a little different from our other integrators that we have released so far on procurement side, on some of the others as well, where it is a direct web service call. This is through the interfaces. So there's one extra step to submit the concurrent, which is embedded right in here. I hope this is not blocking. This is something visible only to me, I'm expecting. This zoom bar. So let me move it away a little. Is it getting in the way, Stephanie?
No, only you can see it. It's very
Okay,
annoying.
okay.
Don't worry.
Yeah, right. Okay, so this is the import program, which is linked in here under scheduled processing. Just submit it, and it is taken care of from right within here. You even have access to the log files and everything right here from the view concurrent view request, view scheduled processing. You can look at the log file, you can look at the completion status and everything from here. You don't have to leave it, but you don't even need to dig into the log files. The moment you refresh, you should see all the outcome right here. Give it some time. Obviously, if it's still running, it'll keep it pending, but given some time, it'll bring back your newly created agreement numbers, your acceptance. If there was a reject, if there was an error, you'll get the message. Just typical More4apps style, you'll get the message right here on the error messages on the line level or the header level. And we'll deal with few errors here and there, maybe when we're doing some updates. For now, we did create, and I used the default values. This is also a very favorite feature amongst users, to have a default value and not bother about putting actual values on every data row. Things like create as an action. I didn't have to stick it into every one of the BPAs. Obviously, when I'm getting a file like this, my supplier or my buyer is not going to care about, things which are very native to the integrator, like giving an action. They don't have that. So I can stick it in as one blanket value, as a default value, and I don't have to bother about putting it on every row here. Same goes with the dates. And this is something I save on my sheet so that when I start, it always starts with an agreement date of today and extends it to a year. And I could have these seeded in so that it is always there. If anything is different, like I did here, if you have a value that takes precedence over the defaults, but in the absence of anything, you know that this is your fallback value here. All right, so these are the agreements that have been created. I have the number very conveniently displayed back here. Let's go ahead and do some updates on this. So that's the next thing I was going to talk about. There is, besides doing it from a file, some of you might have a use case of copying prior agreements. Given, let's say it's expiring at the end of the year or new quarter begins, you want to just roll over prior agreements with some tweaks. There is another method to copy from prior, and that is using a download and tweaking up some of the values if you need to. And this is also common across our products. Users love to just replicate from old POs or BPAs, even in items. When they're creating new items, they can copy from a prior one. Purchasing item, you have all the attributes nicely set up. So why not just download a prior item and just reuse it for the next one? So the download form allows you to do that across our solutions. You just go into the download form. Let's say I just want to go by the prior end of the month or something. I just take the creation date range. This would be end of the quarter or end of the year when you're rolling over to a new period. So you'll just take that period and limit with your procurement BU, even the buyer maybe, or supplier. If you're actually renewing for specific cases, scenarios, you can plug in those as well as filters, and then you can download. Once you have the download, I'll have to expand that. It's not a real system, so let me make that a little wider, all the way up till, let's say, even yesterday. Okay, so once I have the download, I just need to take off the old references. So just remove the old agreement numbers, tweak up the dates, prices if you need to, and you're ready with your data for the new agreement right there. So I got some 75 records. So all I would need to do if I have to turn them into new BPAs is to remove this old reference of the agreement number. And I have data for my new agreements here. Of course, I'll have to tweak up the dates here, prices. If it's a real life scenario, I would want to go and tweak up the prices according to the new quarter negotiations. So once it's done, I have a great head start on copying from the prior. All right, and I'm hoping that you're keeping the chat alive and questions flowing. I'll peek into that at the end. So let's move into updating agreements. That is the need of the landscape, supply chain landscape. I've heard a lot these days about updating agreements or POs or a lot of even quotations as things are going through a lot of upheaval in the supply chain landscape, procurement, your negotiations with your suppliers. They demand that you make some adjustments. Okay, so let's look at that. So I have a sheet which is tailored for update. The difference being not too much. You just have the action as a blanket update records. I have the change order. Again, that is updated or rather defaulted to line pricing update. The change order description, that is a mandatory field. So all I need to do is plug in some agreement numbers. I could take the ones that I just created or some past ones, and I'll download. If you're familiar with some of our other integrators, you would know how the download via sheet works. You just pop in any search parameter like this one, and you can go by any of these pointed columns. Fill in one or more of these pointer columns, and that becomes your search parameter for a download like I did here. So it brings back all the other columns, all the other field values based off the search parameter that you've given here. So it's very useful to do it as a combination sometimes, status plus yourself as a buyer, anything that is open, you want to just relook at your open POs. You can do that here, limit by supplier, and few things at the line level as well. All right, so let's see what updates we can do here. So we have already marked it with pricing updates. Let's just go in there, do a few updates. I'll also do some typo or something, fat finger. So I can just do probably just yeah. So if I just did an exclamation or something by mistake here and there, So a few updates I'm doing, and there are probably some errors. So if I say 3 here and by mistake I did $1 there. Okay, so some mistakes seeded in. And then I'm just going to do some updates. You could be doing your other updates at the same time, whatever is allowed in Oracle. And we have our user guide where these will be listed, which are the updatable columns, which are not. So once you've done that, you can just highlight. I'll just do a couple of these, highlight these, and do the upload of the selection. And now we should see some validation errors coming back. While this goes on, you can always navigate off, come back. So it tries to go through and successfully does a few updates where it finds no errors, but the others where there is, these are some prior ones. So those were accepted before, but wherever there is an error, you don't really have to leave this interface or this sheet. It tells you neatly right here, even if it is a result of the schedule processing and a result of the import program, you would still see the error message in the same neat little format here where it is stacked under the section where the error is. It is highlighted. Okay, so you can go and see the error message here. Price must be of type decimal. Same thing at both places. And then it is actually flagging it that you have done some wrong key entries. Okay, so I can just do that correction here. And then I'm ready to upload. And it'll also go through the same interface table. So I won't go through belabor that whole process again. So that was the download via sheet. We looked at the download via form. You can add new lines. That's also a possibility if you want to add new lines to an existing BPA. So let's say you missed out some items, new items are getting added onto your BPAs. What you can do is very simply, you don't even need to deal with the clutter of all the additional lines in a BPA. It could be having hundreds of lines, but all you need to do is just download the header. So what I've done here, again, this is to streamline things. When you're adding a new line to an existing new item to an existing agreement, you wouldn't want to see all the other items. It could have thousands of lines. So what you can do is tailor a sheet, which is just the header. I can download via sheet and just get the header information, clean and compact. Okay. Once I have that, I can add my line section after the download. So what that does is, basically I can take this and add this now, and I'm avoiding the clutter of the lines in the download, and I can just focus on the new line I'm adding here. So I'll just go in here, add this new item that we are now adding on to all the agreements from this supplier. Okay. I'll just go and add this new item line onto my other. So it's from the line type. I'll just copy these so I can just paste it against each of these. And this is a new item that I'm creating on all of these lines. Okay, so very simply, I just upload it and leave it at that so that you see how it is being done. So it's just creating. I'm just defaulting the line number to the row number. Just use some formulas here so that it is unique. I wouldn't know which the latest row number is, but you can use some Excel jugglery to get around that. Okay, so this just equated to the row number, gave it a unique row number, and now these new items have been added. Okay, on the change, one thing that people have really liked is, let's say you want to compare an item price across a lot of agreements, compare them and get all the values where this is active as a line. That can also be done. So it's very easy to, because it is marked with a pointer, you can actually download using that. So that has been very helpful for some of them to compare the pricing. So let's say I want to, let's go to the update this time. So let's say I want to update prices and I want to compare them. I can actually search by an item and look for all the active agreements where this item occurs, either the item or by even supplier items. I can just put that in here and download via sheet. So this has also been very powerful for some of our users. So the efficiency you'll see is that you just get that one item line across, let's say, 20 of these agreements. And now you can compare them. You can tweak as you want. You can see exactly across suppliers, what is the pricing. You want to end date it or, deactivate or anything or cancel or all those things. You can do a targeted update on these. Price update, increase, put an expiration date. All that can be done targeted on this one item, either by item or by supplier or even for a category. So all these are filterable when you see this little pointer. And filterable for multiple. You could put a list of 3 or 4 items that you're targeting and searching. So that's the power. And yeah, as I said, the backdrop is procurement. So there are a lot of cancels or updates that you might be doing on even standard POs. So that is also available within our procurement module. Very quickly, I wanted to show the layout designer that we had rolled out onto our solutions. It's been a couple months, but still a lot of people have not explored this. So I'll show it. We go into templates, and when you're creating a new sheet or even when you want to edit an existing sheet, let me do that actually first. So let's say I have the sheet, which I like a lot. It's just missing, let's say 1 or 2 columns, just say I want to add some DFFs onto this. So I can actually, because this is my favorite layout, I'll use this as a starting point and I can do edit existing sheet. And it gives me a neat little layout designer with this being my starting point. So already the fields that are on this existing sheet are checked off. They are checked, they are checked on, and then I can add anything else I want. So I was just missing one little revision, or let's say the context or something at the line level, agreement amount, quantity, okay? Price breaks if I want, I can add that, and then I can create a new sheet. So this is a neat little layout designer. Besides removing columns like Excel that I had done before, this is the starting point. When you're creating a new sheet, you can pick and choose here as well. And then after the fact, we already talked about how you can remove columns even after you see the final layout. Just like Excel, you can remove them, okay? So yeah, you can add anything, line start date, minimum, all of these, and then create a new sheet. Once you see it, you might have second thoughts and you can reorder things. I want the supplier site a little ahead. I want it right next to the supplier. You can do that. After looking at it, you might decide that, oh, I left something that was not needed here. Like I don't need, the amount, or everything looks negotiated. I don't need this. I can just go in and delete it after the fact as well. So all of that flexibility is there. And once you have your sheet, that becomes your go to the one and only one-stop place where you do your entire operation from. You don't really have to flip between different sheets or different interfaces, go into the your window or your browser window or anything else. Okay, so what are the new things coming up? I just wanted to brief on those as well. Obviously, there is community where you can get a whole, if you sign up on these communities, it is linked in here actually over to your help. You can go in and when you go into product support, it'll pull you the community page. The user guide also, the user guide gets you into the user guide page, which I'll show here on the browser. So these are our user guides. Sorry, not this one. I have that Zoom bar blocking a lot of things here. Yeah, so this is the user guide here. So it'll link you into the user guide. And you have different sections, the blanket agreements. You can see the all the features and everything here, how to do all the steps. The community is useful for all users to sign up and get updates. Few of the new things that are coming up, you'll see them as part of the community. You'll hear a lot of buzz, and this community helps you to connect with other users as well. You can go and ask a question. There are discussions that happen. You can look up all of our documentation. Okay, so you can ask a question here. Our support team or even peers can answer those. So that's the useful part. Plus you get some updates, and what we are moving on to as we go forward is that we are going to do quarterly releases. That's a new methodology that we are adopting. You won't get flurries of updates here and there. They'll be all consolidated, and you'll get quarterly updates on our products so that it's kind of following what Oracle does, just once a quarter you update. So it becomes easier to put it into your plan. So that'll be the new method going forward. And then upcoming in the next release, specifically for procurement, we are actually going to have contract agreements coming in. So if you go into your templates right now, there is blanket agreements. Under procurement, you have standard POs, requisitions, and even the document builder. And you have purchase agreements, BPAs. So there'll be a new one getting added in the next release around June. You'll get contract agreements. Down the line towards the end of the year, we are building more like PO receiving. And up in the next release, there is more additions in the finance module. You have the GL journals coming in the finance module. So you should stay tuned. I urge you or encourage you to sign up on community so that you're in the know what's coming, what are the new features getting introduced and things like that. There is also some revamped updates coming to our how we put our user guides out there, release notes out there. It becomes a lot easier to consolidate and search also. So those are the up and coming updates. So I think I can go over.
So we'll do our Q&A portion. You ready for that?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, so we'll do that for like the next, 10-ish minutes, 10, 15 minutes, depending on how many questions you have. If you initially ask a question and have any like further clarifying questions, you can raise your hand and I can unmute you. That might just be easier to communicate that way. If you don't want to, that's totally fine, but I can also do that. It's okay. So I'll try to get through what we have here. If we need to take any offline or if anything pops up offline, we're always here for you. And I'll send out Racha's info, our info. So yeah. And Racha, yeah, you see there's a couple in there already if you want to take a peek.
On
Or
the
if you want me
chat.
to relay it to you.
Yeah, I'll look up the chat.
Yeah.
Actual and committed spend. That's something I can look up. There is one about specifically some fields out there. Okay, released amount and optional column. Okay, so let's look at those things, how to answer those, and I'll enable you to answer these yourselves. So when you're in here, you can go to that same layout designer. Okay, and in here, each and every field is listed. Okay, so in here, I can search for those fields that you were asking about. I don't know off the top of my head, so I just educate you how to look for it, actual and committed spend. So let me look at spend here and see if those fields are available. Let's see here, it says 0. Yeah, I don't see anything to do with spends. If it's part of the agreement on the forms, yeah, maybe we can check where it is on the, and usually our support team and products team, we are on top of anything that is required for a real use case or a business scenario. And then we can look at whether it's accommodated in the interface or in the web services. So yeah, if you're in the community, definitely queue that up. If it's a required field on your business process, you can interact with our support and development team to see if that can be included. Okay, released amount, is it an optional column? Again, how to look for required versus optional, is this yes, no? So let me look for the released amount. Minimum release amount is not required here, if this is the one we're talking about. There are 7 occurrences, I'm not sure which exact, but this is how you can answer these questions for yourself. So you can look for minimum line release amount. Again, this seems not required. So this is how you can find whether something is required or not. Look at the column here on the template designer, the layout designer. All right, let's keep going. So that's how you can find the answer to that. Oh yeah, that's yours. Okay. Can you show us the updates in Oracle? Okay, I could go there. Well, let's
What's a follow-up one though too before you want to get into that? If you want to scroll down before you get into the Oracle side.
Yes, yeah, that's a little digression. So I was just going on with the next. At present, only authorized users with valid license can review BPAs. Are there any enhancements planned? So yeah, let me read out this question. At present, only authorized users can review BPAs. Are there any enhancements planned to make the BPA value and remaining balance be available to all users without additional licensing costs? So this is for, I'm assuming this is for More4apps license, or is it for Oracle license? I'm not sure which one is being referred to here. And that's more like a sales question about if it is about our licenses. It's more a sales question.
We can take it offline. That's okay.
Right. Yeah. I think I'll have to get the help of some sales rep to answer that. Okay, was that the last one you see, or is there a Q&A box separate?
No, the I just said that was a follow-up, and you can go back to that if you want to show the uploaded data.
Okay, on Oracle. Okay, let's do that. So let's go in here and I can log into the same instance as soon as I get this Zoom bar out of the way. Yeah. So yeah. So that's my instance. And then I just go in. And this is a interface that I'm not used to day to day. I'm more familiar with the More4apps now. Once it's so convenient, I've seen users totally unhook off the Oracle forms and get more used to just as I have done. So the forms get less and less familiar. All right. So let me go into procurement. So I'll just pull up one of the ones that we created today. Okay, and I might fumble a bit here because, as I said, I don't do this day to day. Is it under supply chain? Where is my procurement? Okay. And let me just go through the.
It's right there. Oh, you missed it. It's just procurement under me. You see
Oh,
that?
yeah. All right. Yeah. Thank you. All right. So let's go to the purchase agreements. Thank you. And then I can search for my agreements here. Okay. I think this is the way to search. So let's go into some of these that we created today. But yeah, really, I mean, these would be literally there as you would know from our, it's just the navigation that I might grope around a little bit with, but if you are used to this, you should be able to find out. I don't know if this is the way this is the best way to search, or is there a better way? I think this might have been a better way to search. This is not really my day-to-day kind of, yeah, so here it is. True to what we uploaded, lines 1 through 6. 1 through 6, and these are our quantities and prices. I don't know what exactly we wanted to look at, but these are all the lines and everything. Now, if you have, I didn't go into the price breaks, so that's why you wouldn't see any price breaks here. But yeah, if you want, you can always pull that section in. We saw that in the layout designer. And I have a sheet or a tab here whenever I want to deal with price breaks. I have this tab ready where I have, besides the header and the lines, I have the price breaks included here. And this is the structure. You can have the slabs by the quantity and the price break price in here. Updates can also be done. Okay, so you can have an end date and put a new value, and all of that can be done here. So yeah, that's the only reason we didn't have one on that sheet, and that's why I don't see any price breaks. All right, any other questions? Is there another window besides the chat?
No, that's kind of all our questions. But like I said, like if anything pops up, feel free to reach out. I'll send out Rachana's info. But if anyone has anything, this is your last call. But before Rachana, we'll just probably sign out here. But before Rachana makes her final remarks, I just want to thank everyone and Rachana for being here. And we remind you that we will have the recording by the end of the week. Just keep an eye out for that. And we hope to see you at our next session, or maybe see Rachana again. I don't know if it's going to be pertinent to you because it's about our EBS toolbox, but hey, pop in. Maybe you can learn some new things anyway. But yeah, Roshan, do you have anything to say?
No, it's always a pleasure to connect with you all in this forum, and I encourage you to sign up to communities, get in touch with us, be help with building these templates, all the efficiency tips that I gave today. We can do it on an individual session, also help you fine tune your templates. We call it a template tune up session, so you can always sign up for those when you get in touch with your rep or directly with me. So feel free to reach out and we can help you streamline your procurement or any of the other cloud processes. Yes.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, thank you, Roshan, and thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks.